YouTube for the last couple of years, and I wrote about mind control murders back in Atlanta, 75 to 81, April Fool's Day of 81. And Larry Flint, I'm going to mention him, and I usually put stuff out to show what I'm talking about, but he was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, while I was doing the book at Moonraker, apartment in Marietta. He was shot March the 6th of 78, and I was almost killed on April Fool's Day of 80, and I was illegally in that condition. I should have died, transported across the state line back to Alabama to where the sheriff Patterson did a background check on me as a requirement for going to work for Fred Simpson, the district attorney in Madison County. By the way, I want to get this in here. One of the mind control murders I told about was John Lennon. Mark David Chapman shot him. He was programmed too. Jesse Ventura, the wrestler, and also the governor of Minnesota a couple of times, I believe, even had that on Truth TV. So there's a list of them, and the mass killings here at Virginia Tech in April the 16th of 07, I could go on the Sandy Hook, all of it. James Holmes is really one to zero in on because mind control and programming has nothing to do with mental health. It's made to mimic it, but if your doctors don't know the difference, and obviously something's wrong because I haven't heard it on network television or anything, they call them mind control victims psychotic or using mental health, and even using, it's not medicine. When you give the wrong medicine to someone because you misdiagnosed them, that's torture. So I'm going to just go to this. The Colorado shootings the other day by Robert Dear, D-E-A-R. Oh, geez. It's the people that let it happen, so just let me. I'm just going to give you my itinerary here, and what they got to do with anything. I'm on the phone. Yesterday was the 2nd. I had called the public health department in Benton next door. It's the county. I live in the county. And she called me back, and I had been bitten all over. I come back to live here. It's a motel. It's where I had moved from a few months back in the summer to Scott Hill in Covington, where they had black mold. And I could get a picture of that, and I'm not going to say anything else, try to give why and all this, what's being done. Anyway, that if that gets in your lungs, it can take out your lungs, the spores. So I ended up going back and hadn't fixed it. It was a joke. Turned out to be a sick joke. Because, anyway, I came back here. And I hadn't had that problem here, but then they came in and sprayed and a little bit on the carpet, and that night I was rolling, and it hadn't stopped. I mean, my eyelids, everything, all of me is just a mess. So I called the public health there, and she talks to me. She said, well, I'm supposed to come out and look at where you're living and assess and all this, and she should know. Later I started thinking, why didn't she know? I gave her a description of how I was feeling and everything. What was happening to me, but it was this morning that I found when I was starting to make coffee, a little tiny bug that maybe what laid the eggs and what's on me, I don't know, but it's caused me a lot of pain. I do know that you have to wash everything, and they're not going to move me from this room. So she should have come out, especially with my age and everything. And she was very kind, but then toward the end, she says, no, I need a nurse. Because I don't know I'll go ahead and say it, whether it's lice, whether it's, she didn't know what it was. She said, I've just called the public health, and she's the one that comes out and checks things like this out. I started thinking she knew very well what I was talking about, because you can't see them, they're so tiny. But they cause you hell, they infest your eyelashes, your hair, and I'm not going to tell all the rest of your body. And you really have to clean everything, be it your room clean or your home, your clothing, and then you bathe and make sure you got it all off. I know that much about it. So it doesn't do any good to do one without the other. And these people aren't going to do a thing. Because anyway, so the phone call was to her, and she told me to call back down to, it's Roanoke City, really, public health. I called, and I left the messages, and it gave me to environmental health, which doesn't help you. They shoot it back to her, and she calls me back. And I'm just getting the runaround again. I finally realized that, because there has been a gag put on all this, and I have been run to hell, and I haven't come back yet, and I don't know that I will. So what's it got to do with anything? I turned on the TV, and the mass shootings you can really attribute to the agencies doing it and mind control. I turned it on at San Bernardino. Well, I could throw in that Flint lives over and just start giving you background on his shooting and mind control and me being out there and all this being in Roanoke and the Falwell parody and all that. And what's that got to do with anything, right? Unless you sit down and listen to the whole mess. So I get the call back from down there, and I get bounced around, so nobody's really going to do anything. There's a gag on. Nobody will touch it. Even LOA, the League of Older Americans, they don't. So anyway, I can't get an attorney, so I don't wonder what anybody, if they've listened to all this, if they wanted to, and people around here in Roanoke, I all know it's the truth, they're afraid of it. So I'm just going to, I don't think I want to put anything else down, only everybody was too quick to call it mental illness when one has nothing to do with the other. And they want the motive. Well, the motive is you can send messages if someone's programmed under mind control. The person doing the programming can have them on a certain date, certain time, shoot or kill somebody on a certain, it's a timeline, and you can actually send messages with it. But anyway, out there, the shootings happened at a public health, I believe, was having a banquet there, and I believe where they had it was in social service building, and it was a resource center for the mentally disadvantaged. So you get the mental health input in there too, and the conference that was going on. And the man that did the shooting, him and his wife, he was actually an inspector and worked in the public health department, I believe, when he got up and from the banquet and left and then come back and they did the shootings. So I'm going to leave it at that. You can take from it what you want to. You can call somebody nuts for putting this up, and you don't care to check it out and go back over what I put up before, and most people just drop it like the FBI agent in Grottoes with a car furnished by Hustler magazine sitting there. I didn't have the money to even use it. Couldn't get back to Flint anymore because they were busy putting him in prison in Butner where the serial killers who've been Manson. I won't go back there to Manson. That's one of them that's so blatant. And then the shooting of Reagan by Hinckley and the press secretary Brady. So one of the motives in this is to take down all the guns, and then only the police have the guns or the military. You can use, these are mind control in these certain murders done in pattern, but especially the mass, the campus shootings, because that gets a lot of attention. So they've got get your guns, and you just walk right into it. And if you don't, they'll call you mentally ill, and they can get you that way without even going through anything hardly, and discredit you, and it's never wiped off your record, even if it's a total lie, misdiagnosis deliberately or whatever. So that's all I'm going to say. I put the mess up yesterday on video because I remembered, well, day before yesterday too, about Murphy. Alexis Murphy was what I was thinking about, her murder. It was a mind control murder. The person was programmed. You can't have copycats in it because copycats don't have the itinerary, the person doing the programming. So they can't copy it. They don't know it. You can't call them copycat because they go in with a gun and they shoot a bunch of people.